Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today we are bringing back a series that we haven't done in quite some time. We're going to be starting up our tips and tricks videos for visiting theme parks. Today we're going to be taking a look at Universal Studios Hollywood in Universal City, California. This park may actually be the park that I have visited the most in my life. I grew up down the street and I would absolutely consider this to be my home park. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on the best ways to tackle visiting this park and to make sure you have the absolute best day possible. Oh, and one super important, really cool thing, we have some brand new merch up and live. This merch is super cool, custom designed by our team. We've got everything from hoodies to hats to shirts, even backpacks and phone cases. Be sure to click that link in the description below. And before we start today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss when we have brand new videos. If you like content like this, you're in luck because we're going to be having a ton more tips and tricks videos coming out shortly. With all that out of the way, let's not waste any further time and get right into the video. Alright, let's start off with some quick facts about Universal Studios Hollywood. One-day ticket prices can range anywhere from $109 to $154 for a one-day ticket, with prices going down the more days that you purchase. Season pass pricing ranges from $179 for a California resident pass to almost $600 for their highest platinum tier price. The difference in benefits here from the passes is mainly surrounding the number of blockout day restrictions. But the higher tiers such as Gold and Platinum also include benefits like free parking, discounts on food and merch, and the Platinum tier also includes free express access after 3 p.m. every single visit. Park hours actually vary quite a bit, which is going to be something that we definitely talk about later in this video, but for reference, they can range anywhere from as short as 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or as long as 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., with purchased early entry being 1 hour early before the park opens. And finally, Universal Studios Hollywood is home to 12 rides, soon to be 13 rides. We'll get to that a bit later though, stay tuned. With a hefty price tag and some huge e-ticket attractions that are bound to get massive wait times, planning your day accordingly and being fully prepared is absolutely necessary. With that out of the way, let's get right into our 10 best tips and tricks and mistakes to completely avoid. Oh, and watch till the very end, the last tip is by far the most important. The first mistake that you can make is something that would happen way before you even get to the park, and that is buying a ticket for the wrong day. Now, I know that sometimes this can be hard to control, but if you are able to have a bit of flexibility with picking your day, it can be absolutely game-changing for you. For starters, like we mentioned before, the price can vary drastically depending on what day you pick by almost 50% of the price. Weekdays are always going to be by far the cheapest, with weekends during non-peak season being a close second. Summer tickets are always going to be the most expensive, especially around July, no matter what day of the week you go. That being said, you also want to maximize the amount of hours you are at the park. And like we mentioned before, the park hours have a pretty wide range of duration. The best park hours, as you would figure, are those days with the most expensive tickets, like weekends and the summer. Our best recommendation here would be to visit during the month of August, specifically on a weekday during the latter half of the month. That's going to be your best bet in terms of ticket price and optimizing the park hours as well. And the added benefit here is that a lot of schools are already back in session during that time, so the crowd level is going to be pretty minimal compared to the rest of the summer. However, we know it's sometimes not at all possible to plan around when you want to go to the park, and sometimes you're just going to have to go on a day that's super busy, super expensive, or short park hours. Don't worry, that's what the rest of this video is for. We've got all the best tips and tricks for maximizing your day, even if you have to go on the absolute worst day possible. Now, moving on to our second mistake to avoid, and this one is actually brand new as of a few weeks ago. Our next mistake is forgetting about the new security bubble at City Walk. Now, you might not be caught up to date on new Universal Studio security, which if you're not, I don't blame you at all. Only the most die-hard, nerdiest theme park goers like me stay up to date on new theme park security systems. If you don't know what's changed, now Universal has a new security bubble, which puts all of City Walk past the security checkpoint. No longer is the security at the front entrance of the park. There are now 2 different checkpoints on opposite sides of City Walk, directly in place when you exit the parking structures. Meaning, even if you were just going to City Walk, you still got to go through security. This is very similar actually to the Disneyland Resort security system for a great frame of reference. The mistake to avoid here is forgetting that the system is new and attempting to go to the old routes into City Walk. I'll be honest, I was a little confused at first. I tried to go towards where I was used to going to enter City Walk, but then I realized that way was blocked off. My recommendation would be to just follow all the posted signage about where to go for security and not just go off of what your gut says like me. A little tip for you, it might actually be the opposite direction that you're used to. I actually think this is a pretty positive change. The security checkpoints look very sleek and modern, and it definitely helps speed up operations having 2 security checkpoints, especially when entering the park now that you don't have the congestion from security and ticketing at the front entrance. Alright, that's enough with all the boring things like security and tickets. Let's move on to some rides, shall we? Mistake number 3 is hitting the upper lot first. Trust me, everyone goes straight to Wizarding World. I know you're going to want to do all the Harry Potter attractions. I don't blame you. They are phenomenal. But hold off for a few hours. I promise it'll be worth it. Instead, the best option is to go to the lower lot first. Hit rides like Jurassic World, Transformers, Revenge of the Mummy. Oh, and skip Super Nintendo World for now. We'll come back to that one a bit later. These are all fantastic rides that tend to get pretty crowded, especially in the afternoon, so it's great to knock them off early if you can. A quick note about this one though, this only works if you get there at rope drop. Do not attempt to do this if you're arriving too late because the wait times will get increasingly longer. But you should be there at rope drop anyways, no excuse for sleeping in, you're going to Universal Studios after all. Which brings us very nicely to our next mistake, waiting too long to do the studio tour. If you're not already aware, the studio tour actually closes a few hours before the park closes. This means that if you wait too late to do it, you might miss out. And honestly, this is one of the coolest and by far the most unique attraction at Universal Studios. Be prepared though, this one definitely takes a while. The experience can last anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes, so make sure you get those bathroom breaks in beforehand. Quick little fun fact for you here, you can actually bring drinks and snacks onto the studio tour. Make use of that long ride. Now, going back to our day at the park, I think that after visiting the lower lot is a great time to hit the studio tour. Get it out of the way before the lines get too crazy and before it gets too hot. While it is shaded, you're going to be outdoors for quite a while, so bring some water. Moving right along to our next mistake, number 5 is going to be missing out on exploring the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter isn't just one of the coolest lands at Universal Studios Hollywood. It's one of the coolest lands at any theme park, ever. And while the rides are great, everyone already knows that. Our tip here would be to explore the rest of the Wizarding World. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you're going to be absolutely mesmerized. Even if you're not a fan, you'll still be blown away. I myself have actually never read or seen Harry Potter. Please do not come at me in the comments. But that being said, I am a huge fan of this land and its rides and attractions. Okay, going back to our tip here, be sure to check out all the shops and food places in this land in addition to the rides. Some of these shops are attractions in and of themselves. Oh, and if you are a huge fan of Harry Potter, you should absolutely check out the Ollivander's Wand Experience. Super cool mini show that is absolutely worthy of checking out. Oh, and don't forget to do the rides while you're here too. A great time to do all this would be right after the studio tour is finished. And our next mistake not to make here is missing out on all of the shows and smaller attractions. There's so many awesome e-ticket attractions here that sometimes those smaller attractions and shows can get overlooked. One of my favorite experiences at Universal Studios Hollywood is the Waterworld Stunt Show. It's actually one of my favorite theme park shows of all time. The stunts are absolutely phenomenal, and it's a great paced show that's super entertaining and an absolute spectacle to watch. Be warned though, you're going to need to get here roughly 20 minutes early before the showtime that's listed in order to get a good seat. Oh, and sit in those green seats. Trust me. Other key attractions not to miss in the upper lot, Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, Kung Fu Panda Adventure are a ton of fun, especially for younger kids. And they don't tend to get too long of a line. Secret Life of Pets is actually a great sleeper ride here in this park, and honestly one of my favorites that tends to get overlooked quite a bit. Additionally, it's got a great queue that is super immersive. Alright, you still with me? We still got 4 more great tips left. Tip number 7 is not seeing Super Nintendo World at night. Now, unfortunately, this tip only applies to you if you're able to visit on a day where the park hours are long enough for it to get dark. But if you do, you absolutely need to see this land at night. That's why we've saved it for last. During the day, the land is great, but at night, completely changes the game. And an additional added benefit here is that the wait time for Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge will be significantly shorter. This ride tends to get a huge line, and one of the reasons why it's not a great idea to hit it super early in the morning is that early entry is specifically for Super Nintendo World. This means that even if you go straight there after rope drop, there will already be a line. It's not worth it. Unless, of course, you are purchasing early entry yourself, then it's definitely worth it. Alright, let's talk about some food, yeah? Everyone loves food, but theme park food can be incredibly expensive and unfortunately sometimes not too great. Fortunately for us here though, Universal Studios does have some pretty good options. So mistake number 8 here is going to be eating at the wrong restaurants. Unfortunately, not all theme park restaurants are created equal, but I'm going to give you some of my favorites here at Universal. Krusty Burger has by far my favorite burgers in the park if you are craving a classic theme park meal, but my personal favorite is going to be Cocina Mexicana, some great Mexican food that's not too expensive. 3 Broomsticks and Toadstool Cafe are awesome if you are looking for a more immersive dining experience, but be warned, those can get pretty popular. Another great recommendation that I always tell people is to go eat in City Walk. This is now even easier than before because you don't even have to go back through security, and City Walk has some great table service options or a plethora of fast food options as well if that's what you're craving. One other major tip here would be not to eat at peak hours. Try to plan your day around eating at off times. The lines for food will be significantly better. And moving right along to our second to last tip here, this one's an interesting one. Tip number 9 is going in with the wrong expectations. Now, I know this sounds weird, but bear with me here. Especially if you have been to the Universal Orlando Resort or Disneyland just down the road, this is going to feel very different. And going in expecting it to feel just like those parks, you might come out feeling a little bit disappointed. That's not me saying this is a bad park by any means. It's one of my favorites, trust me, it's just very different. For starters, this park is incredibly landlocked. That makes it super difficult for them to expand, which means this park can feel pretty congested and tight sometimes. It also means that some of the lands and rides are very close to each other or smaller than you might expect. Like I said though, this park is just very different, and there are also some super unique features that only this place has. Universal Studios Hollywood is a park deep rooted in history. Not only is it a theme park, but it's a real, active working movie studio. The studio tour gives you the opportunity to see all of these real-life iconic sets and sound stages that all your favorite movies were shot at, and even current movies that are in the making. You may even see a famous celebrity on the back lot. Universal Studios Hollywood is definitely a different kind of theme park. Not worse, just different, and I've loved watching it evolve over time. Now, we are almost at the end of the video, and you might be thinking to yourself that there is a huge thing that I've forgotten to talk about. Don't worry, I didn't forget. I've saved the most important tip for last. Our last and final mistake to avoid is not knowing how to get on the brand new Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift roller coaster. Now honestly, this might be the main reason why a lot of you clicked on this videos. And to be completely honest with you, we have zero clue what opening for this attraction will look like or the weeks following. That being said, we do know how past openings have gone for other attractions here at Universal. So we do have a lot to go off of in terms of tips and tricks here. There are 2 very likely scenarios. And for both of them, you kind of need to plan your day around riding this attraction. Scenario 1 is that this attraction will utilize a virtual queue. Depending on how this one will work, you will most likely have to have all of your tickets or passes linked to the app ahead of time. You will want to make sure to log on a few minutes before the queue goes live, probably around 7 or 8 a.m., but be sure to check the app for more information and spam the refresh button until it allows you to join the queue. You'll get a return time, and you're probably going to need to plan the rest of your day around when your queue time is. The other likely scenario is that it doesn't utilize a virtual queue. And here, you're going to also kind of need to plan your day around riding it. My tip here is if you see the ride open, ride it. New rides are always finicky, and this one being a completely brand new ride system, it's bound to experience some downtime. So if you see it open, ride it. I know we just talked about 9 other tips about what to do during your day, but if you see it open, completely disregard all those other tips, as funny as it sounds. This ride looks like it's going to be incredible, one of, if not the greatest roller coaster in the state of California, so it's going to be incredibly popular, but also very, very worth it. Worth the trip to Universal Studios Hollywood alone. But that's going to do it for our mistakes to avoid when visiting Universal Studios Hollywood in 2026. Did you learn something from this video? Comment down below. Also, be sure to comment on what parks you want to see covered next. If this video gets enough interest, we'll bring back this series permanently to the channel. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching World of Immersion. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, we'll catch you in the next video.